Hello and welcome back to everyone that's tuned in to the American Ultra Stock channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're bringing on a video right here about the analysis recap. A little bit of a delay right there, my apologies. On the USMNT, well, USYNT, the U23s at the Olympics. They basically renew our hopes for a good campaign. 4-1 win, should have been 4-0 win against New Zealand. Braden, I think we can all be in high spirits, a little bit dejected by that last goal, but ultimately it's a win. They did their job and we got back to the positive, at least to even goal difference. So, debriefing the first half for us, the main points that you think you want to take away, and also for the viewers, we'll be doing player ratings right after a brief analysis of each half.
Yeah, so the first quick thing that I want to mention is the lineup, just because Marko Mitrovic, I think, made a very bold statement by going completely unchanged. Same exact 11, and he did say in the interview, I don't remember if it was before the game or after, I think it was before, that he wanted to, in an ideal world, have the same starting 11 in every single group game, which, considering how close the games are to each other, I don't know if I would do that, and especially considering some of the performances as well from the substitutes. But ultimately, I think his decision paid off. There was obviously a couple of players who maybe shouldn't have kept their spots, but overall, I mean, we saw what happened. A great win for the team. First half was excellent. We came out firing. I think you could tell the boys were determined to get back in the win column after the demoralizing slightly loss to France, where I mean we played so well, but ended up losing 3-0 at the end, capitulating. And in this one, I think we were determined. Nathan Harriel immediately winning a penalty, which Mihailovic very calmly slotted home. Then again, Nathan Harriel involved in the action, and Mihailovic too, actually. Mihailovic putting in the free kick just 4 minutes later. Falls to Harriel. His shot is saved, but Walker Zimmerman's there to poke it in. Just like that, 12 minutes in, we're up 2-0, and we're absolutely flying. Busio gets in on the action in the 30th minute with a well-taken goal off a good run from John Tolkien, I think it has to be said. So well done from him. Paredes finds Busio, and it's 3-0 immediately. The only bad thing that came from the first half was Gianluca Busio's injury. It's unfortunate to see that, especially non-contact. You always hope for the best. But ultimately, it led to Jack McGlynn coming in. I thought he was one of the best players on the field when he did so. So that's good. Hopefully, Busio will be better. I hope he rests in the next game because I think we can win without him. And he's going to be crucial in the knockout run if we can get there. So hopefully he's okay. But I think the first half all around was phenomenal.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think right away, I think obviously we had a good half, but I think New Zealand, you can tell they're quite a few levels below what that France team was. It's a different animal compared to what we had in the first match. And I thought, honestly, you can only beat what's in front of you. And we were very good in that game, very efficient with the chances we got. I thought the pressure was really good. Again, our shape, because there were moments in the very beginning where they try to grow some volume and our shape was really good. I mean, very organized. I don't think we're as cohesive going forward, but I think we shape up pretty well, at least defensively. And obviously these players, we need to remind ourselves they're not seasoned vets. So I mean, we got some, but they're MLS lifers, and we ended up having a good half. Unfortunately, the Buzio injury, it's something that it's not the biggest surprise for people that watch him a lot, because that hamstring has been a cause for concern in the past for Venezia, 2 seasons in a row. So hopefully it's nothing too major, too serious, because McGlynn showed that he can play as well, as we all know. So that set us up for a good second half, a 3-0 at the 3-0 lead. What do you think about that half, Braden? Do you think we should have maybe created more? Obviously, there's the goal to talk about your main points.
I think in terms of creating, we did a pretty good job. It was just a lack of finishing, maybe, which I think, I mean, if you look at the senior team, we saw that in the second half of also a dominant win against Bolivia. And maybe the goal difference would have ended up costing us in this one. Hopefully, it doesn't end up costing us here, because I do think, I will say this, it was a great performance. And I thought the performance against France was pretty solid as well. But ultimately, to be 2 games down, 2 good performances down, and still be at 0 goal difference, I think is very disappointing, just from that perspective, because I think the way we've been playing should reflect us being several goals up. And I think the finishing in the second half just wasn't as good. McGlynn had a lot of chances, a lot of good shots. I think it does have to be said, New Zealand's goalkeeper is a very good player, just signed for Bournemouth, Alex Paulson. He's one of the main reasons why they even won their first game against Guinea, who don't look like a bad team at all. They're playing France as we record this, and they're hanging in there. But I do think that we probably should have done a little bit better in terms of the finishing. Kramaski had a chance. There was so many opportunities. Paxton had one that maybe should have been better. Yao, but I will say the subs made a huge impact. Griffin Yao coming on at the same time as Dietz, and immediately 1 minute after coming on gets an assist to Paxton. Such a good player. I think Yao proved not only why bigger clubs in Belgium are looking at him for a potential transfer, but also why he's one of the most important players on this roster and why he should probably be starting the next game. Taylor Booth as well provided that spark off the bench. I think it just goes to show how much quality we have in this team and the depth, which is something that we've never really been able to say. So it's nice in that aspect. The goal that we gave up is inexcusable, though. I will say that. Miles Robinson was playing right back because Harriel came out. I think that was a horrible decision to bring off Harriel and put Miles there, especially considering that Kramaski was the one who came on for him. He was probably the worst player on the pitch for us. Just poor from Miles, letting a ball go through way too easily, and then across to Dietz, who's just standing there and lets his man Jesse Randall. Credit to New Zealand. It was a good through ball, good cross, good finish, but it was far too easy. It's something that you would see on a training ground against traffic cones. So I think the defense needs to take a look at themselves. But overall, a very good performance. I would have liked to see a little bit better in the second half, though.
Yeah, I think it was a very entertaining half, to be completely honest. Very open. I like how we created, and we don't have that number 9. I think watching games like this, we can pinpoint on the finishing. Maybe we were wasteful, but I don't think we really wasted that many clear-cut chances. And I actually like how we created so much. We were very versatile in the way that we created through the wings, through the middle. We saw when Booth came on, he has an injection of pace. I thought that Yao, like we said, I've been high on Yao for quite a long time. Amazing player, created something right away. We created enough. I'm really happy with that performance. And again, it's just a lack of a number 9, really. We can pinpoint all these chances all we want, but at the end of the day, we don't really have a number 9. Maguire had one. There was one pass where Yao, I don't know if it was Yao or Paxton, a really good pass behind the line of the defender. He should have finished with his left, and he can't even get to the ball. I mean, he got to the ball, tried to control it, missed it. So what happens. Duncan is not the best of forwards, but he ran around quite a lot. So that brings us to our player ratings. So starting with Patrick Schulte this time around, not much in my opinion that he could do on the goal. How do you evaluate his performance, Braden?
I think it was just fine. Definitely a lot better than the France game. I thought that there was a little bit of suspectness in that one, but here he made an excellent save in the first half. And if that save didn't happen, the game could have been completely different, because then I think it would have been, I think, 3-1 at that point. But still, getting them the momentum before half, they still would have had 10 or 15 minutes to go grab a second. And after we did score the third goal, I think they had a little bit of spell of possession where they were creating some chances. And that save, especially after the deflection it took off, I believe it was Walker Zimmerman, getting there, the reaction and punching it over and doing enough to dissuade Tyler Binden as well, who was there, the American dual national that I've been high on for so long. He was there to put it away, but his header ended up going over the bar thanks to Schulte's effort and John Tolkien. So I think Schulte did all he can do. Like you said, in terms of the goal, that's not on him at all. I blame Miles and Dietz for that one. So I'm just going to give Schulte a 6.5. He only made one good save, really, but that was all he had to do.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6, really. I think that excellent save, but he had some redeeming to do. And I'll be honest, if he doesn't make that save, it's one of those saves where it's a great one, but if he doesn't make it, you would think, oh, but it wasn't even to the side. I mean, so I'll just give him good save, 6. Moving on right here to the right back, Nathan Harriel, who had been subbed off. And I will say it's a little bit, it's honestly disappointing to see these guys get subbed off, but we have to remind ourselves the fixture schedule is crazy. So any chance you can get for these guys that are running, especially on the wings, do need to come off. How do you evaluate his game?
And especially since Harriel is the only true right back on the team. I mean, we do have an alternate that maybe will come in, Jake Davis, because we know Busio has an injury. I think it's very likely that we do see an alternate come in for the final game, whether it's him or Josh Atencio. But I thought Harriel was once again fantastic. I'm going to give him a 7 or 7.5. I can't decide. I'll bump it up to a 7.5 just because he drew the penalty. I think a lot of people will forget about that because it was so early in the game. But I thought attacking, defensive-wise, he was very, very solid again. There was nothing that he did that was a mistake or anything like that. Won the ball back so many times. Was good passing, which is something that I think a lot of people have maybe criticized him in the past. I think Harriel's probably the biggest stock up so far this tournament, just because a lot of people rated him so lowly before. I think so many people said he was probably the worst player on the team, and I think he's proven everyone wrong through 2 games. So another very, very solid performance from potentially our best defender at this tournament.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6.5. I thought it was a good performance, but I don't think that New Zealand was too good to even expose his set of skills. So competent performance, really good job to draw the penalty, really good ball control on the first touch. That is a tough ball, both to head and to control, and he drew it. So 6.5 for him. Moving on to Miles Robinson, again, continue to be the suspect. What do you think about this overage player we have in our pool, Braden?
I think the best part about the first half for me was that I couldn't even tell Miles Robinson was playing. He got the ball so few times, and I think that's good because we've seen in both games and even with the senior team, his passing is very suspect. I think one of the only bad passes coming out of the back, maybe the only one, was from Miles in the second half, and it gave them a counterattack opportunity. We were lucky that they ended up wasting it, but I'm going to have to give him a 4.5. I don't think he did anything well. At least for Zimmerman, he got cooked. I mean, we'll talk about him. He got cooked one time, but I thought his tackles were very solid. Miles didn't win a single tackle all game. I mean, maybe it was just that they were too scared to go at him, but he didn't really do anything, and I think he was one of the main 2 players that fought for the goal, so I'll give him a 4.5.
I'll give Miles a 3, man. Honestly, I think it was, again, another bad match. You're playing New Zealand, one of the only times where you're called upon action to do anything. You're an overage player. Honestly, sick of this guy, but he's going to stick around for probably the remainder of the tournament. So I'm going to give him a 3. But moving on to his counterpart right there, Walker Zimmerman got a goal, which I'm actually really happy for him.
Yeah, I am too. I like Walker Zimmerman. Definitely not as a senior team center back, but I think for this level, he's very solid. He did have that one time at the end of the second half where he got cooked by one of New Zealand's subs, got megged. That was a little bit embarrassing, but overall, the goal, and I think besides that one moment, he was very solid defensively. He was the one, I think, center back or right-sided player who didn't have anything to do with the goal that we gave up, and overall, just another solid performance. Maybe not as good defensively as it was against France, but also you have to factor in the level of the competition. I'm going to give him a 7. It would be a 6.5, but the goal boosts him up a little bit.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7 then because of the goal as well. I mean, it was a really important goal. It kind of is the one that makes their heads go down, honestly, the second goal. So I'll give him a 7 right there. Honestly, the nutmeg, I'm not even too concerned about. I mean, he got cooked, but that's what happens, really. When you're a center back, my expectations for him aren't to be extremely good, especially since Miles is the one that was closer to the A team. So honestly, solid match from him. Going on to John Tolkin.
Tolkin, I talked about Harriel being potentially our best defender. I think Tolkien's the other one. Such a good performance again, especially that run that he had to set up the third goal. Eventually, he created so many chances, crossing the ball as well. I think in the first game, we saw him be very solid, even got close to scoring himself. And this one, I thought he was even better. Granted, obviously, it's a worse competition, but I'm going to give him a 7.5. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch for us.
Yeah, I'm going to give him 7.5, maybe 8 even. I thought he was absolutely... Yeah, I'll give him an 8. Honestly, maybe I'm overrating him a little bit, but I thought he was absolutely phenomenal the whole match. Granted, you're playing against New Zealand, but the ball control... There was one long ball from Tesman where it was a good long ball, but he just glued the ball to his feet and was always so direct. Playing against teams, oppositions that are worse than us and are open up, I feel like he's a very valuable player to have. That third goal was all on him, to be honest. I mean, what a run he had. So moving on right here to the midfield, where it wasn't too much to be asked defensively. Tanner Tessman, the captain, how do you grade him today, Braden?
Honestly, watching Teston at Venezia and even with this team in the past, I thought this was one of the worst games I've seen from him. Not necessarily that it was bad, but I thought there was maybe a couple slight miscues in terms of defensively. He was a little slow to a couple tackles, including the one that he did get a yellow card for, which is a big concern and could have been easily avoided because it happened in stoppage time of the first half. It's just a stupid mistake to make, being the captain of the team. And if he gets another one against Guinea, he's suspended for the quarterfinals. So I'm going to have to give him a 6. I think there wasn't any big mistakes besides that one. He was very solid passing, as always. His long balls, I mean, we know what he can do there. But to the standard I have for him as such a great player and the captain of this team, I just don't think it was that good.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6 because 4 out of 4 on the long balls. Defensively, lots of recoveries. He's the one that passed the ball the most and only misplaced one pass, which I remember was trying to do something a little bit progressive, but honestly didn't do anything to warrant more than that. I'll give him 5.5, 6, something like that. Nothing to be too proud about, but a solid performance. Kept the control of the game alongside his counterpart that unfortunately came off injured and was looking like he was going to do something, putting a lot of pressure, a lot of work rate from Buzio. Sad to see, but how do you see him in 30 minutes, Braden?
It is tough to grade him because, like you said, he only played 35 minutes, but got the all-important goal. Or, I mean, kind of. It was the third one, but it's still a nice goal. And I thought he was pretty well involved in the attack. No mistakes from him, obviously, and just going forward, he was pretty solid. I'm going to give him a 7. I mean, maybe it's a 6.5 just because he played so little. Yeah, we'll give him a 6.5, deduct half a point for the injury, but it's nothing much you can do about that. Just another solid performance, really.
Yeah, I'll put 6.5 because of the goal as well. Again, helping shape up I think that just tactically, him and Tasman understand each other a lot. Whenever New Zealand had the ball, they always shape up nicely to help cover and force them to pass backwards and not create something. It was not much to grade him on, so 6.5 for the goal. Happy for him that he got the goal. Hopefully it's not serious. Then we have Mihailovic. A goal changes everything. He scored a penalty. He got an assist too. So technically, I know that there's one of our subscribers that will be very happy with that. How do you see Mihailovic's match today, Braden?
I'm very annoyed because that was not his assist. I don't know why FotMob gave it to him. It was very clear that if anyone gets the assist for the second goal, it's Nathan Harriel, but FotMob is brain dead as they usually are, and they give it to him, and all of a sudden he's man of the match, and all of the Mihailovic apologists are going to be screaming in the comment section. I thought he was all right. Very well taken penalty. I'll give him that. It was very calm, composed. What you expect from the overage midfielder on the team. Very well put away. Solid on set pieces. I thought we were very threatening when he was taking them. I think that's kind of his job. I mean, penalties a set piece as well. And if he can just be solid on set pieces, we have the personnel on the wings in the midfield as well to create the chances. If he can just be a set piece merchant, that's going to be fine. I'll give him a 7, a 6.5 performance, but the goal boosts him a little bit.
I'll give him a 7 too. I'm not the highest on Mihailovic. I don't think he's that great, but I thought he looked really, really good today. Honestly, good performance. He's playing against New Zealand. He's the overage guy. He should look good, but he did his job, and very comfortable on the ball as well, calming things down a little bit. I thought he was a little sloppy with the passing in the first match. This time around, I feel like he used Tasman. He passed the ball to Tasman a lot, and just laying it sideways just to get the control of the game. You don't want to lose control because of your overage player. Then moving on to the wings, Kevin Paredes, the right wing. Happy for him to get the assist. What do you think about this one?
I thought, despite the very solid assist and always being so active as he does and drawing the fouls, I don't see it with Kevin Paredes. I just don't think he's a winger. He doesn't have the body to do it. He's short, very skinny, and he seems to spend all the time on the ground. All the criticisms that people use for Brendan Aronson, I think you can use twice as much for Kevin Paredes, and especially the fact that it's a youth tournament, technically, going against players who are still not necessarily fully grown men. I mean, they're in their teens, early 20s. It's just a little disappointing to see. I think we have better options on the bench. Not to say he was bad or anything. I just would expect better, especially from someone who's been so hyped, playing so well at Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. I'm going to give him a 6.5.
I'll give him a 6, to be honest. Got an assist. Happy for him. Maybe boost him to 6.5. That's nice. I don't think it was a bad matchup from him, but for all the hype, and if I wasn't going to hold him to a higher regard, especially since he has A-team experience where he got called up and everything, I'll give him a 6. Good match from him. Hopefully he's more lively, but I think there's someone knocking on the door for that spot, perhaps. Then on the other wing, Paxton Harrison, I'm sure you're happy to see him score. I thought it was an excellent match from him. What do you think, Braden?
Yeah, seeing Paxton score at the Olympics is one of the best moments I can remember. Real talk. But I thought he was very solid. Just, again, showing his class. I think he was one of the best players on the pitch for us. I'm going to give him an 8. It would have been 8.5 if he had done a little bit better at that chance at the end, either scoring himself or playing it to Yao earlier. But just so good, beating defenders every time, creating chances both for himself and for his teammates. I think him being there in any capacity is an absolute must for every single game, whether he's on the wing. I'd personally like to see him try a little bit more at the false 9, because once that did happen in the second half, I thought our attack was so dynamic with him, Yao, Booth. It was just so fun to watch. Hopefully we can see that from the jump against Guinea, but he was incredible. I would probably give him man of the match, but maybe I'm a little bit biased. What do you think?
I don't think you're being biased at all. I would be honest if you were being biased. I thought just like Token X Paxton, I have to give him an 8. Honestly, really good match from him. Got the goal, and even against France, which is the best sample we can look at, when he was a false nine, both in the first friendly as well as in the one we watched in the Olympics, he made that run, got the header, and the France goalkeeper makes an excellent save. I think he should be the false nine. It's what got us to this tournament in the first place. Really happy for him. Really should have scored, I think, later on, but regardless, really good match. And now moving on to the man who maybe stands out a little bit. If for all of you FOTMob lovers, he's one of the only 3 guys that got a little orange rating. We have Duncan Maguire came off, and I think we looked better when he came off.
Well, we talk about Paxton Aronson being a false nine because he drops deep. I think Duncan Maguire is a false nine because, or is he really on the pitch? He acts like a striker, but can you really call him that? I'm not sure. He was invisible again, kind of the same thing as it was against France. And the reality with him is he is a striker who needs service, and maybe he didn't get enough of that. But like you said, I thought we looked so much better when he came off. He just wasn't really providing anything. And the few opportunities that he did have, I would expect better from someone of his alleged quality who's been doing so well in MLS, scoring so many goals. Like you mentioned, when we were running through the game, that chance that Paxton played the through ball to him, he completely wasted. That's an opportunity for him to, if not go to goal, at least use his size and strength to hold it up, play it back in, cut it back in for someone, an oncoming runner. And the other one, right after we scored the third goal, actually, I think we pressed. Mihailovic actually won the ball back on the edge of the box. It ended up going to Maguire. I think it was some nice combination between Mihailovic and Busio. Ended up going to Maguire, and he just got his shot blocked. Couldn't even get it on target. I'm going to give him a 2. I would expect so much better against this kind of competition. It's harsh, but I saw people in the comments saying I wasn't harsh enough with my ratings against France. So screw it. I'm going to give Maguire a 2.
Oh, that is harsh. I feel bad for him. Honestly, I don't think he should be a starter. Quite honestly, I don't think he should be a bench on the roster if we had to use the overage spot wisely. But anyways, judging on this performance, I have to give him a 3. I think it's consistent with what I gave him the first game, 3 or 4. About that, really. I mean, can't really fault the guy too much. I just feel like for the players we have, if we were a worse team, it would fit him a little bit more because then we would be more rigid. But we are a better team than just having a guy that kind of like just can't even hold up the ball that much. I mean, he's not going to have the space he has in MLS, so it is what it is. 3 for Maguire for me. Now moving on, we have to grade the subs today. They were done a little bit earlier, which I'm happy about. But we can start with Jack McGlynn. He was the first one to come on. I thought he had a good showing. What do you think, Braden, about your other Philly Academy product?
All the Union Academy products did us proud today. Incredible performances from all 3 of them. I'm going to give McGlynn an 8 as well. Always threatening, and I mean, we saw once again what he can do on that left foot. It's so good. I don't think it's bold to say he has one of the best left foots in the world. Incredible passing range, and he pulls out passes. Even Tim Howard was impressed. I think Tim Howard should probably start watching a little bit more film. But so good and gotten so many opportunities as well, especially from a midfielder that plays like he does. You expect him to be more of a provider, but I thought he was taking it upon himself to get the chances himself, which is something I like to see, especially with Busio out, who is more of that kind of midfielder to drive forward. I mean, we saw him get the goal. McGlynn had so many shots, forcing some more great saves out of Paulson in goal for New Zealand, and I thought he was very unlucky to not score. That's the one downside that I could say from him, because there were a lot of opportunities and maybe some of them should have gone in, but I don't think you can really expect him to do much better from many of the shots. I'm going to give him an 8, and props to can I give props to Mitrovic? I mean, Booster got injured, but props to him for making the right sub, because we saw against France, maybe the wrong subs were made initially.
No, I think it's props to Mitrovic. I mean, want it or not, he does have options to put, especially for the type of player that Busio is. There's also the athleticism some people point out too. I thought he did really well when he came on. Props to McGlynn. I'll give him a 7 though. I think that he should have scored. Really good match, but I hold him in high regard too. So I'll give him a 7. I feel like it's a fair rating, and a really good match for him. I really would have liked to see him score. The passes and everything, and you can tell just on Howard, a nice guy, but the commentary was a little bit funny at times. Moving on right here to Max Dietz. I think we can be very brief on him for the sake of time. Not the best of matches, and he came on again with a bit of a different role. What do you think, Braden?
Yeah, he came on for Georgie, I think it was, as a midfielder, trying to create a little bit more of a defensive stability alongside Tesma as a 6. I thought he was okay as a six, didn't really do too much. The problems was when the later subs came in, and then he ended up shifting back to center back, his natural position. Miles went out right, and like I said, I think Dietz was probably the one who you can blame most for their goal. I'm gonna give him a 4.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a 4. Honestly, I expect better right there. Yeah, good goal by New Zealand, but it really shouldn't even have happened. We can pinpoint to him and Miles, but he doesn't get as bad of a rating as Miles because he's younger. So moving on right here to the best Boludo we're gonna get, Benjamin Cremaschi. He came on. Well, what do you think, Braden? Cremaschi, in my opinion, kind of didn't look like he really belonged compared to the other talent we have right here. Don't want to be too harsh on him, but what's your rating?
Well, Kremeski is the only player on this roster who is playing up a full cycle. He's eligible for the 2028 Olympics, and I think he showed that in today's performance. I'm happy for him. It's an incredible achievement to get on the pitch at the Olympics, call yourself an Olympian. He's just not at the level yet. Maybe he will be in the future. I think a lot of people rate him very highly. I think he's a little bit overrated due to the club he plays for. People weren't hyping him as much until Messi arrived to Inter Miami. He's been good for them. I just don't see it today. I thought his passing was woeful. He telegraphed it so much. There was one chance in particular that stood out where he had the ball in a counterattack, and instead of trying to disguise his pass a little bit, he stared directly at whoever he was trying to pass to. I think it may have been Tessmer. I don't really remember, but the defender was in between them and just stepped in so easily. And then the other chance that he had, the big one where he hit it wide instead of probably a pretty easy goal. And even when he won the ball back due to a mistake from New Zealand in the box, instead of picking out someone in the middle, he kind of just lost the ball. So I'm going to give him a 4. I don't think he's at the level. Cool accomplishment for him, but especially from a midfielder, if Cole Bassett was here, who I think should have been called up instead, I think we score a lot more goals.
Yeah, I'll give him a 4. Just want to be nice right here and not to roast the guy. He's younger too, so I'll keep that in mind. But did look a little bit out of place. You can tell we lose a bit of quality if he comes on. I skipped. I don't know how I managed to skip what was the best sub. I mean, the guy that I've been so high on for the whole season, and he's doing both of us proud. We've been talking about Griffin Yao comes on and honestly gets an assist right off the bat. How do you grade his performance, Braden?
I don't know about best sub. Let's respect McGlynn a little bit. But this one is where I'll give Mitrovic huge props because we saw Yao and all the other subs come on so late against France. And by that time, the game was over. He learned from his mistakes in that one, made the subs early in the 57th minute in terms of Yao and Dietz. And instant impact from him getting that assist. Like I said, he came on from Maguire. As soon as that happened, our attack was so fluid, so dynamic, so fun to watch. Hopefully, I'm praying that he starts against Guinea because I think it gives us the best chance of scoring goals, winning the game. And I have to give Yao, I'm going to give him a 7.5 or maybe an 8. I'll give him an 8 as well. I thought he was fantastic. Had an excellent solo run as well that maybe should have ended in a goal. Maybe he should have done better on that one chance I talked about when I was talking about Paxton, but overall just fantastic from the Westerlo winger.
Yeah, I don't think he will find himself at Westerlo for much longer. Honestly, these performances are really, really good. I'm really impressed with him, and I'll give him an 8 as well. I thought maybe 7.5. Yeah, 7.5, just because he played a little less, but honestly, did himself proud, and he's knocking on the door for a starting spot, honestly. I think that Maguire should be worried. I don't know if Mitrovic is comfortable with experimenting with a new system, but anyways, moving right here to Taylor Booth, the last player right here. I'm quite happy for Booth that he's getting involved with this group. There was a moment in time where we didn't know if he was going to be here. How do you see this match where he got a little bit more of minutes?
I can't really judge it too much just because he only played for like 20 minutes, 25, but I thought he was very solid once he came on. Again, contributing so much to that dynamic attack, had some good runs, completed a lot of solid dribbles, and I'm going to give him a 6.5. No goal contributions, no really clear-cut chances, but he was very solid, put in a burst of pace and energy off the bench, which is what you want from a substitute. Provided something completely different to Paredes, where he was actually staying on his feet, beating defenders instead of drawing fouls, which was nice to see, creating some fast break opportunities. One in particular I thought was very solid. Beat a man, played it through to Yao, and then Yao's cross was eventually deflected out. But just solid game from Booth. Hopefully he has a bigger role to play later in the tournament because I think he's good enough for it.
Yeah, I think that there is maybe a scenario where he is the one to come on for Buzio. I don't know. I think it's be up between him and McGlynn, depending on the opponent that we face. I'll give him a 6. I think 6 is fine. Honestly, a good match from Booth. Happy to see him playing, and he's doing well with the minutes he gets. So let us know in the comments below. What do you think? How do you grade our guys? I think this sets us up for a scenario where France beat, as we finished recording this, they beat Guinea. So we can technically lose to Guinea. Honestly, wouldn't advise anyone to lose to Guinea, but technically, if you want to go the Berhalter route, you can't say that technically we can't lose. So, but I think we're all set. I mean, I think the hopes are renewed. We have a good result, big result to back us up, and hopefully, I am very confident that we're going to win. Let us know. Do you think we're going to win? Make sure to tune in, stay subscribed, and tell your friends to subscribe as well. Give it a like and share it if you can. We'll see you next time.